Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 990. So we are 10 episodes away from reaching episode 1000. And that's huge. That's going to be a monumental moment. Like, obviously there's been other shows, other anime that have reached that milestone. Like, I believe Case Closed is well past that at this point, or Detective Conan is the actual title. I believe that's well past that at this point. Excuse me. And I think Doraemon is another one that has lasted a long time. I think that's well past 1,000 at this point. But still, One Piece is like one of the most popular manga and anime in the world. Period. It's like right there at the top. And so for it to be reaching 1,000 episodes is huge. And when it reached 1,000 chapters in the manga, that was huge. That was a massive deal. There's huge celebrations. I've talked about this before. There are huge celebrations all over social media for this. People made a massive deal out of it. And so it's going to be the same when the anime hits 1,000 episodes. It's going to be a massive deal. And as someone who's been watching this anime, honestly, since it was on 4Kids, back with the original dub, which was not that good, but hey, it got me into the series proper. So, as someone who's been watching since then, though, since the 4Kids dub, that's a long time. Most of this series' life, in terms of the anime, at least. And I've been a lifelong fan, and I will continue to be. I'm always super excited to see what's going to happen next, and I'm glad to be caught up, unlike had been the case just like a couple years ago and everything, like before I started reacting to this, where I just got behind every now and again and had to do a massive catch ups. And the raid in Onigashima continues. Great place for this to happen, for the 1000th episode to eventually come in during this raid, during this big event in what is, in my opinion at least, the best arc so far of One Piece. So, last we left off, Chopper and Usopp had fought Big Mom a little bit. They did better than you would expect, but at the same time, they still were obviously no match for her. We had some other stuff going down, and then the big thing at the end, Ulti rode Page One down the stairs, accidentally, clearly, like she wasn't necessarily meaning to do that, but ended up coming face to face with Luffy. So Luffy is now face to face with one of the Tobiropo, with another one unconscious right below her. And as I said last time, I did not think we were going to get a Tobiropo fight yet. I thought it was still a little too early. But you know what? I'm okay with it. I assume Page One's going to end up fighting Sanji at some point, just because they fought before, got to have that rematch and everything. But here we're getting Luffy versus Ulti, and it's like, I also wouldn't have thought Luffy would be the one to take on Ulti of all the Tobiropo. I mean, I don't know how powerful she is compared to the others, but it's just not what I expected. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I have been spoiled on a couple things for this episode. Not everything, and I'm very much out of context for what I've been spoiled on. But I know of, basically, I know a character is going to be in this. And I know that I basically know the very basic gist of what they're going to do. This was something that was unable to avoid because Twitter blew up because of the announcement of this character like arriving in this episode. I'm sure a lot of you already know who I'm talking about. A lot of you have probably already seen this. I'm actually getting to this episode, recording it later than usual. You know, I usually record these on Sunday and everything, but because of it being Labor Day weekend, I wasn't able to get to it, so I'm actually recording it much later than I normally would. I'm recording it on Tuesday, which is unusual. Usually I have it pre-recorded by Tuesday, but I wasn't able to this time. Anyway. So I'm sure you guys, for those of you who had already seen the episode, know who I'm talking about. I'm sure that, you probably might have heard anyways, but still, I'm just still gonna not say anything until it happens in the episode. I will say I'm excited, but yeah, the Twitter sphere, the fandom on Twitter just went completely insane about it. There's a lot of discourse about this character, and I'll talk more about that probably in the afterthoughts, depending on how this happens in this episode. But yeah, there was a lot that went on and I got involved in it very heavily. Not in terms of like spoiling myself on any more big story or character related stuff. It's just stuff I already knew. And just to keep it brief, I was just arguing with people about certain things a lot. And then there's new information that came out and just conflicting information and stuff. And yeah, but there is also these We Are One special videos that was put out for One Piece as a celebration for coming up on the 1000th episode and whatnot. And they included clips from previous arcs and whatnot, as well as a clip of this character being like really shown for the first time and having the voice, the VO displayed for the first time. So that's big. And it was blatantly said because of this and by the voice actor specifically that this character would debut in episode 990. So yeah, I got spoiled on that. But I kind of knew that the character was coming soon. Like I kind of knew, and they had been building up to the character. So yeah, it's like it's not like it's a huge surprise to me. It's just I didn't know prior to that the character was specifically coming in this episode. But here we are. I'm still going to be excited when it happens. But yeah, this arc is continuing to be pretty fantastic. This raid so far is pretty great. And it looks like things are going to really start kicking off now that we have one of our main crew members coming in contact with one of the Tobiroppo. And we know that Kaido and Orochi now know about everyone coming, but they're not worried at all. And Orochi's planning on executing Momonosuke quicker because he believes that it'll demoralize everyone and allow them to gain victory. Which is true, honestly. If they did that, if they did execute Momo, without question, everybody would be demoralized when they when they heard of it. It's not even a question. They would, of course, be demoralized. But I don't think it would necessarily stop them. I think it would actually fuel their hatred and determination a little more, considering why they're fighting in the first place. And I mean, Momo's not the only surviving child of Odin. I know it's typically not seen as a thing to put a female as shogun, because Wano has a little bit of sexism rooted in it still. I mean, that's just fact. And I feel like it kind of like is comparative to real life power structures that have still done this and all. So it's not really that surprising to me. But I mean, it could be possible that if they did, if they did overthrow Kaido and Orochi, that they would make an exception just to continue to have a Kozuki member in control. And honestly, I think Hiyori could pull it off. We know how well she can do under pressure. We've seen that with when she was acting as Komurasaki. So, but either way, we're gonna get into this, hope for the best, and see how this arrival does happen. Plus, I want to see what the hell happens with Luffy and Ulti. How's that gonna go down? In the meantime, let's get this started. So, yeah. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Really good episode. We got like very, very brief catch up on everything else, but let's be honest, this episode was focused on Luffy versus Ulti in page 1. And it was a really good fight, even though not too much technically happened in it. The fight was actually pretty good. Ulti, her, let me see if I can find this here, because I want to try to get the name of this right. Oh, there. I just saw it. Crap. I just saw it too. Pachycephalosaurus. Okay. And again, page 1's is a lot easier. Spinosaurus. So, Ulti goes at first into half-stage Zoan mode with her Pachycephalosaurus double fruit. Gives her tail, gives her brow ridges, arms, and legs, but it's still only a halfway form. And we know Zoan types can do that. They have kind of like their normal, I guess, human or whatever form, their natural state. Then they have the halfway state and the full transformation state. So this is Chopper obviously being an exemption since he has multiple states due to his Rumble Ball. But we see here that we have this half state with her, but page 1 just instantly goes into full state. And we've seen page 1 before again. But we also see that even at half state, Ulti is a huge threat to Luffy. Like, she can still do massive damage and still be just a real big problem. Luffy acknowledges, though, at first he wasn't going all out because he just believed that she was probably not going to be as strong as that. He underestimated her. And he admitted that, too. He admitted that, and he adjusted. But even still, after he adjusted, she was still excessively strong, and that's notable. The fact that she was still able to, keep up with him for the most part is notable. And then when she went full form, she started just completely destroying him pretty much. Like, he was having a hard time with her in her full form. I think she's probably stronger than page 1. That's what I'm guessing here, because Luffy was able to handle page 1 a lot easier. but against Ulti, he had a lot more trouble. I'm thinking she's stronger than Page One in terms of like Toby Ropo power rankings and all. um, I don't know if they're the two weakest of the group, though. I really just do not know. But if they are, that's horrifying because they are actually exceptionally strong. And it's like, I feel like it's every arc in this series. We get that kind of thing. Every arc, we have these villains be so exceptionally strong compared to our heroes that it's like, it's almost unbelievable. And you almost wonder how our heroes are going to defeat them because they seem like they're actually a legitimate threat. And I love that this series does that, that it always makes the villains legitimate threats. That every time, at every arc, the villains are scaled to the heroes. And every time it feels natural. Because obviously with this world, they're going further in. I mean, the villains of the Grand Line are going to be stronger than the villains in the East Blue. The villains in the New World are going to be stronger than in the Grand Line. And so on and so forth. The villains associated with the Emperors of the Sea are going to be stronger than the ones who are just like for Doflamingo, a warlord. Well, former warlord. But still, you get the idea here. This power scaling, usually in a lot of anime, power scaling tends to break a lot of the immersion and quote unquote realism, considering anime and all the unrealistic shit you see in these. But you know what I mean. It's like it just feels unnatural a lot of the times. Dragon Ball Z had a big problem with this, where it just didn't feel natural with the power scaling. Um, Bleach has had issues with that at times. Naruto has huge issues with that. Let's be honest. And I there's a lot I like about Naruto and Bleach and these others, but still, it's just a lot of these animes, especially when it comes to shonen, have these issues because they have to keep making the villains better and better to continue to be threats to the heroes who we also see are getting better and better. And I think Oda is the only one who is truly, in terms of these big shonen anime, I think Oda is the only one who truly has perfected that. The only one who has actually been able to make it feel natural. Because of just the way he builds this world. The world building actually lends itself super well to the power scaling of this series, allowing it to really breathe and feel like it's natural to this world. Every time a new villain comes along, you expect them to be stronger because Luffy and the gang are going further into the Grand Line or into the New World, or they're facing an Emperor of the Sea now. So yeah, the villains are going to be stronger. You expect that, and you get it. And you see our heroes struggle every time because they're at the same level as these next group of villains, or even just under them at first. Like, it's very clear that Oda has wanted to make this feel right, has wanted the power scaling in One Piece to just work where it doesn't in other shows, in other series. And I really got to commend him for that. And seeing Alti here being so strong, it's like you almost don't expect that because of her personality, but then you see like, oh no, she's just exceptionally strong still. Like, without question, like you think about other villains we've seen in the past, and it's like even up to like the level of Crocodile. Alti could one hit Crocodile. And she's not even the main bad guy of this arc, but she could 100% one hit Crocodile. Hell, I'd say everyone up to Hody Jones in the Fishman Island arc would be completely bodied by Alti. It's only once you get to Doflamingo and his crew, that you start to think that they might be able to put up a better challenge. But everyone before that, Ulti would body them. And that's honestly horrifying to think about. It's just horrifying because, again, I don't think Ulti is the strongest of the Tobiropo. I don't know if she's the weakest, and again, I don't think she specifically is. I think she's stronger than Page One, but I don't think they're the weakest. I don't think they're the strongest of the Tobiropo by any means. So you got to wonder what kind of level are Sasaki, Who's Who, Black Maria, all of them on. And it's like, this is going to be insane. This is just going to be nuts. But that's awesome. Seeing how strong these villains are is just genuinely awesome. And getting to see firsthand that Luffy, who is definitely the strongest of our main crew, is struggling this hard. I like when that happens. I've said it before, I don't like main characters who are just too overpowered and just always win without having to struggle for it. And Luffy doesn't always win. He's lost on many occasions. And he struggles a lot. In fact, pretty much against every main enemy, he struggles. And that's awesome. Because it shows that Luffy is not just this unbeatable force. That he's not unstoppable. That he's a person in this world. He's exceptionally strong, sure. But all that strength has come from training and experience. It's not just natural to him. He's had to work towards that. And even so, there's still people out there very much stronger than him. And that he's going to have to work to surpass again and again. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I truly believe Blackbeard is much, much stronger than Luffy as of where he is now. And probably most of Blackbeard's crew, if not all of them, I would say that with as well. Same with Shanks and his crew. Oh, definitely with Shanks and his crew. And honestly, I think even Kaido might still be stronger than Luffy as of current. Because Luffy still hasn't fully mastered Ryo Haki. You have to realize that. So, I think Luffy is still weaker than Kaido right now. And it's insane. It's awesome, though, to see our heroes be notably weaker than our villains and have to overcome that. This builds great tension. But sorry for rambling on about that for a while. Went off on a bit of a tangent. But it's just, it really impressed me with this episode in that way. But let's be honest. This episode wasn't about that. It wasn't about the little bit we saw of Kid and Killer fighting. Wasn't about any of the other characters we got brief glimpses at. This episode was about the son of Kaido, Yamato. Throughout the episode, we saw brief little moments of Yamato running through the halls, being chased by other people in the Animal Kingdom pirates, telling him, your father's looking for you. And Yamato's response is basically like, I don't care, leave me alone. I have somewhere to be. It's great. It's just these little moments that like hype you up. For manga readers, this was probably really awesome, really exciting to see. It's building up that big moment at the end of this episode. But for anime onlys like myself, if I didn't know who Yamato was prior to this, I would be like, oh, that's the person I saw in those other two episodes briefly. The one who was watching our crew as they went into Onigashima, but also the one who was breaking the rocks. So that means this is Kaido's son, right? That's what my thoughts would have been. But since I did unfortunately get spoiled on who Yamato was prior, and I do know what he looks like without the mask and everything. Since I was spoiled on this, and even since I was spoiled that he was going to appear in this episode and have his true debut, I mean, the hype was still there, but it's like seeing him running through the halls, it's like it just got me excited. If I didn't know he was going to appear in this episode, it probably would have been much more hype. Though I would have known with the title, of course. And if I didn't know like all of the stuff the few things I know about Yamato as it is, if I hadn't known that stuff and been spoiled on that stuff in the past, this would have been a lot more hype. But still, even knowing all of that, seeing that title and seeing Yamato running through the halls and everything throughout this episode was extremely hype. And that moment at the end where he used the Thunder Bagua to save Luffy from Ulti was extremely hype. You see what I used as the thumbnail, and it's like I had to use it. I had to. Um, because it's just like it was just such a hype, awesome moment. And then we actually got a little bit after that, which surprised me because it's like when that was happening, I'm like, oh, this is about to end, isn't it? But no, we actually got a little bit after that with Yamato introducing himself to Luffy. Also, he was fangirling, or I guess if you want to use fanboying a bit over Luffy. It's like I tend to use fangirling for like everyone pretty much. I just use it as a blanket term. Um, but you saw him fangirling or fanboying, whichever term you want to use, over Luffy. It's like, wait, what? It's like because again, I only know like basics about his character. I know very little. I don't know what his personality is like. That is something I was not spoiled on. So seeing him like that, it's like, what? Really? Okay. And then him saying that he's been waiting for Luffy for a long time. It's like, wait, what? Really? Why? Um, and he tells Luffy he's the son of Kaido, and he's clearly not a danger to Luffy, which Luffy acknowledges. And he's he's even blatantly helping Luffy by attacking Ulti and stuff. So my guess is that either he was waiting for Luffy very specifically, in which case, why and how, or two, second option, is that he was just waiting for someone to come along who could, based on Yamato's actions in this episode, who could go against his father. Because it seems like Yamato's not a bad guy at all. And based on his actions here, helping Luffy, blatantly attacking Ulti and stuff, plus the fact that we already know apparently he's been rebelling against Kaido, and Kaido actually had to hire the Tobiropo to go find him. I think it's pretty clear that Yamato maybe doesn't like his father and doesn't agree with him and his actions and whatnot. So it might be that second one, but at the same time, he seemed very familiar with who Luffy was. And the problem, the thing that's confusing about this for me is Wano doesn't get news from the outside, and their news does not get to the outside. They are closed off. That's a very big plot point to this arc and to Wano in general. Oden wanted to open the borders, and if he had become Shogun, he would have. And so, since Wano is closed, Yamato would have no way of knowing who Luffy is from outside news. Unless there was like someone somehow feeding news into Wano, but I don't see how that would happen. Especially under Kaido and Orochi's noses. It just seems very unlikely to me. Wait. No, there is one option. How old is Yamato? I just thought of an option. I just thought of something. Okay, we have a third option. If Yamato is old, I don't know how old Yamato is actually. I know he's an adult, but that's all I know. That is literally all I know about his age. If he's old enough, could he possibly... Actually, no. It's not even if he's old enough. Because we know Tama is still really young. So yeah, it wasn't even that long ago. What am I talking about? It's only like a few years back. I don't know why I was thinking it would have been well in the past. I think I was thinking of the flashback stuff with Whitebeard and Roger. But no. Okay, so we know that Tama met Ace like a few years back and everything, before Ace's death and everything 2 years ago and all. At some point before Marineford, we know Ace went to Wano because he mentioned to Ors Jr. that he learned to make hats there. And we know that he learned to make those hats from Tama. And we know that he and Tama met and connected really strongly. Could it be possible that he met that he met Yamato too? Because we know Ace very much brags about Luffy, or bragged, past tense. We know he very much bragged about Luffy every chance he got. He told everyone about Luffy. And we know that because everyone basically said when like seeing Luffy for the first time, oh, this is the brother that he always talked about and stuff. Ace was super proud of Luffy and would always brag about him. So what if he did so with Yamato? And that's why Yamato has been waiting for Luffy for a long time. He's been waiting for Luffy because he heard about Luffy from Ace. And so he's been waiting for him because of that. That's the only thing that would make the first other option make sense. But how would he have gotten in contact with Ace? Because Ace was mainly on the main island, and he was with Tama and all of them. When would he have come in contact with Yamato? Is Yamato allowed to leave Onigashima? Does Kaido allow that to happen? There's a lot of questions that would come with that, if that were the case. I don't know what the actual truth is here yet. We're going to have to see. Do not spoil me on that. I do not want to be spoiled on anything else if I can help it. I've already been spoiled on too much with Yamato. But if that's the case, that's going to be really interesting. Because that will be the second person in Wano that Ace would have had a huge impact on. And Tama didn't know about Luffy. So I don't think Ace got the chance to tell her. But if Ace did brag about Luffy to Yamato, there's just a lot of interesting questions that come up with this idea. I don't know. We'll have to see if any of my theories here are right. It might just be that he was just waiting for someone, and I'm overthinking it, and he wasn't like necessary. Maybe he found out about Luffy recently. Maybe it was just that he was just waiting for someone to come along. He heard about Luffy just recently because of what's been going on in Wano, and that's why everything's happening. Maybe that's it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It'll hopefully explain things soon. Maybe next episode. Because it's very clear, like, yeah, this ended on a cliffhanger. We're leading into next episode. I wonder how long it's going to take to see Yamato unmasked, by the way. Because we saw him unmasked in the We Are One special. And again, I've already known what he looks like unmasked for a while, but I'm just wondering, when are we going to actually see that in the series proper and all? Is it going to be pretty much right away, or are they going to build up to that a little more? I don't know. I don't know how it is in the manga, so. But either way, I'm very excited for more Yamato. I've been very excited for him since I first heard about him, basically. And I'm hoping to just get a lot more with him going forward. I don't know exactly how big he's going to be during this all. I just, again, I don't know a lot about him. Luckily, I was able to avoid most spoilers. It's just, I knew he existed, I know what he looks like, and I know a couple fun facts about him. That's basically it. Bare bones basics. I didn't know his personality, so that caught me off guard in this episode. And I don't know like what kind of actual role or impact he's going to have. So we'll have to see based on that. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? And what did you think of the kind of real debut of Yamato? We've seen him a couple times before briefly, but this is the real debut. What did you think of him so far? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.